So the question is, why is man, male, and I'm talking about man, been weakened for the last 100 years? And I came across, when I was preparing for this, you know, when you give me such a huge topic, you tell me the kind of audience you have is a very high class. So I had to do a lot of research, Professor, to make sure I'm relevant to these people. But anyway, I came across some articles written by one Carl Thompson on feminism, which is, I'm going to handle globalization from the angle of radical feminism theory. And because this is core in dismantling man, male, in society. I also came across an article written by Jonah Larkin when he gave a number of challenges the modern man has. I will not read it, but what I would do later on, I will send it to the pastor so that he can dispatch it, especially the two of them, the two articles, because I'm going to sample thoughts out of it. And before I ask, where are you? And before we address, where are you? Where am I? Where are we as men in history? I want to give you the environment within which man has found himself in a lonely corner. And it is not you alone, Africa Ngumu. Even the very advanced nation in the global north, men are isolated. Systematically, they have been dismantled. Now, this is what Carl Thompson said about radical feminism. He said radical feminism is a feminist philosophy that advocates for a complete overhaul of society to end male supremacy. Radical feminists believe that patriarchy is the main cause of women's oppression. Further, he said radical feminism theory primarily targets patriarchy as the root cause of women's oppression, believing that the systemic male dominance exists across all aspects of society, including legislation and economic structures, which need to be fundamentally changed to achieve true equality for women. Essentially, they aim to dismantle the entire patriarchal system. End of quote. In 2024, the same has been upgraded, and this record has been given out. Radical feminist emphasizes the patriarchal nature of some mainstream religions, such as Catholicism and Islam, because they think Catholicism is a bit organized than the rest of us evangelicals, and so they can catch Catholicism from its liturgical system of about over 1,000 years ago. And then Islam, which has been consistent from the year 500 AD to our day. They argue that such religions have developed in patriarchal societies and have been hijacked by men. Men have interpreted religious doctrines in order to justify their position of power. Radical feminism also believes that religion often serves to compensate women for their second-class status within religion and society more generally. For example, by providing psychological rewards if they accept their role as mothers and limit their horizons to fulfilling that role. End of quote. I'm talking about globalization. And I'm giving you philosophy that has affected man and has affected you, either directly or indirectly. This has had an impact, and this was radical feminism started in the 60s. There are 4 stages of feminism in the world. The first one agreed with the church and agreed with the movement of the black people when they were demanding for their rights from 1890s. And they worked together, they collaborated, and they used the church as the pulpit to advance their message. They were the liberals. They began 4 stages. I'm not taking you there today. And they worked with the church to give women, when they were giving the blacks their rights, they also gave their women their rights. Right to vote, right to own property, right to do businesses, right to compete with men equally in leadership, and so on. It continued up to 1900. By 1960s, another team started. They call it the radical feminism. This is the one which had a real agenda of dismantling society. And they say they are going to succeed by 3 components. They call it a trinity of operation. 1, by empowering women economically and girls, empowering women by legislation that is pro-women, and it is silent about men. Finally, they were to attack patriarchy as a social order. They were using the term to exterminate what you call male dominancy. This is the philosophy from 1960s to date, has been active in making man be what he is. John Larkin, and I'm going to give it to you, wrote some of he said the findings he has, and he made a sample of several men from different areas and identified the problems and challenges men are facing today in the history of the world. And when you hear men, no one of us is safe, let me tell you, even those who are listening at home, including prime ministers, presidents, and so on. No one is immune. No, they are all in trouble. Man is a man. In Kalenjin they say, muren murena. Yani, man is man. Let me tell you, even when he is in their needs are basic. Yeah, their needs are not abstract, they are basic. And they are subjected to the same humiliation even the small boy in the kitchen can face. They are not different. Let me repeat that again so that you don't think you are isolated from the corner you are. It doesn't matter how much education you have. It doesn't matter how poor you are. Man remains the same, and you are facing the same challenge. And I'm not saying this to bring in rebellion. I'm saying this for you to appreciate the society in which you are. So in the process, all the legislations that have been passed in the Northern Globe for the last 65 years has removed man from the home. It began by this. For you to reach this stage, the insulator and protector of man and women in a setup and in a communal way is family as an institution. So family became the target of this system. From 1960, it began to dismantle the institution of family. And this is how it is. For those of you who have really lived in the Northern Hemisphere, is that it is very expensive to raise a family. They make it difficult to raise a family. They make it very difficult and very expensive and very complicated to bring a family until people began to do away with family silently. So they removed God and the fear of God from the family because it is the bone that binds people together. And then they went further by all the legislations that were given to dismantle social order. By creating a very imaginary equal society where people will be the same, no sorrows, freedom, very good, free from corruption, free from thieves, free from evil. But the more they dismantle that system, the more evil increases in our society. They are advocating for freedom, which is very elusive, and they are not getting it. 75 years, they wanted to be free, even from bearing children, and increase awareness of women and their rights, and they don't want to give them dominance. They tell them you are only equal, and you see the society became a victim of a vacuum of leadership. Because you have denied men cannot be the leader, and you are not giving leadership to women as a matriarch. You are just giving leadership to oblivion and tell them anybody can compete, but nobody can be the leader. They speak without speaking. They try to give them rights on this hand, but takes it away from on the other side. Those of you who comes from Central Province in Kenya, I don't want to use Mount Kenya because it has become politicized. So in the setup of the church, let us be neutral from Central. You heard of a queen of a Kikuyu who ruled them, Wamakeri. And she used to be carried by men. She was sitting on top of their heads. Until one day, men decided to overthrow. So the way the world is moving and trying to bring men to subjugation and deny women identity where they belong will bring about a social misnomer and violence, even when they are trying to deal with what we call domestic violence and the increase of homicides. They are going to increase it. When man is being denied access to economy, because unless you have a collateral, you cannot be given a loan. But women without a collateral they can get and access finances. That is why they are very strong, even in the village. Chamas. And men are asking, iti nyenye javyo soni. Ati mama we iko na nini? Mpaka mzee naita bibi yake mama. Sasa mtoto naita mama. Sasa nasema mama anajua. The more you impoverish this man, the more dangerous you are creating a violent person. And the society will become complicated moving forward. I don't know whether I'm saying something in this introduction. In conclusion, because I'm going to give you, in conclusion of my introduction as I go for 2 points and then I finish, is that John Alaki shows how weak the men we have today and the challenges they are facing. Let me read just a sentence. Men are becoming more lonely and more alone, and they are going it alone. Majority of men, the recent studies shows, majority of men feel like they are going it alone and don't have a place to fully be themselves. Not at home, not in the place of work. They are strangers everywhere. And even sometimes, unfortunately, Pastor, they become strangers even in the church. Thank you, AIC Milimani, for making it intentional that you have men's fellowship. Thank you. Let me speak for the silent majority who cannot speak for themselves. By creating this forum, you are creating a room for a man to have where to open his heart. And even if he may not say it, Mutai told me that I have a chance even to come to the pulpit towards the altar to be prayed for. And I think I have shared my burden with Almighty God in the presence of many witnesses. Lonely. Have you gone home, and when you reach home, especially some of us now at our age, you know, the young girls are becoming women, so they go to the kitchen and they talk with mama, and then even the son goes there, and you are alone in the sitting room. You sit there until you ask, is food ready? They say it is already on the table. So you go and eat alone until you go to your bed alone.